This video is 10 years of wisdom from growing an art business from absolutely nothing. And I'm giving it to you for free. So to give you the greatest competitive edge, I want to go ahead and share with you my unique philosophies that allowed me to succeed while you watch me draw this today, so that you can replicate them, and please feel free to steal them because I want you to succeed. Kicking this whole thing off, what I want to just put out there for you is that I'm not anybody special. I had no special unique upbringing, nor special unique chance encounters, nor any special and unique opportunities that came my way that I just happened to fall into. I'm just an average guy that built an art business online while working a full-time job, while starting a family, and while growing alongside so many unique artistic interests. And through doing this, everything that I'm gonna go through in this video today, I wanna just not regurgitate some of the same stuff that you've been hearing online forever, like way too long. Things that actually help me to succeed. And all of these unique approaches I'm gonna share with you today, they help me grow from my pricing only being like $35 once a month, if that, to upwards of $3,000 to $5,000 a month. And I think you can do that too, because I've seen so many people in your shoes do it as well. And if you've never met me before, my name is Dr. Sean, and thanks so much for joining me today. Welcome to the Art Mentor. And so I'm going to share with you my unique philosophies, my perspectives, and my approaches that have allowed me to do what most people have, which is that actually grow a sustainable art business. Because in everything that I do, I have three main objectives, which is to keep it creative, to keep it sustainable, and to keep it long-term. And if you're on board with that, here's what you can start to steal from me too. Kicking this off, I want to give you, I think, my most powerful philosophy for how I approach every single spec, every single client, every single project. And I've literally adopted and engineered this philosophy since I began this, and I got paid nothing for it, all right? And it is this: the client does not know the best version of their artwork until I deliver it to them. Now that might sound really egotistical, but it's not. I want to just gift you this idea, because if you put this into your practice, this is going to be a huge game changer. Because listen, I understand how it goes. You're going to get that client that might not be your favorite. You're going to get that spec that might not be your favorite. You're going to have to do some work sometimes that feels like you might just be doing it for a paycheck. But if you succumb to that all the time, then that's why you're not going to win. And that's also why you're not going to sustain yourself, because it's going to feel boring and stale to you. And if you want a job, you probably already have one. So to stop that from transforming it into that self, I've always adopted this idea that I want to over-deliver on expectations. And here's what that does for you, friend. First and foremost, don't ever sink down to the idea that you have to only give the client exactly what they want. Yes, I still listen to my client. Yes, I make corrections. Yes, I communicate with them. And we'll talk about all those things through this video today and how I do this a little bit differently. But the biggest thing that this philosophy has done for me, it's allowed me to challenge myself. It's allowed me to look for how I can enjoy it. Wouldn't you like that? Because we'll talk about that today too. And then as well, it's pushed me to be able to make artwork that people want to pay a lot more money for. Because if you're stuck in this rut where somebody asks for this and you just give them that, and they ask for the thing to look like this and the thing looks like that, you're not doing anything special, and you're not creating the value that people want and that people will pay more for eventually. And what that's also done, and what will do for you, is it will develop standards. Standards of, and I'm going to approach this in two ways, standards of what you have to do for what I want to do and what I expect to happen every single time that somebody works with me, but also my anti-standards. What do I not accept? How will I elevate the idea? How will I transform it? How will I think above just what is presented to me? Because if you're just going to do exactly what the client wants, what's the incentive for them to come back? What's the incentive for them to tell somebody else about you? What's the incentive for you to want to continue this? Because if you didn't know this, the average life of the average freelancer in this business, it's about 1 to 2 years before they crash out, because honestly, they're going to fall into that rut. So what if you sought to deliver the best version of it that supersedes everything that client originally approached you with? How powerful would that be? Next, I want to pose probably one of the I think, most trash pieces of advice. And I think this is the most toxic thing that anybody has ever said online. And I have a big problem with it. And so have you ever heard the idea that you should keep art to yourself because once you make it a career, it will kill your creativity. It will annihilate your love of it. Your passion is gone. That is the worst, most toxic, most insidious thought to plant in the minds of young artists. And that is wrong to try to poison the minds of enthusiastic young creatives like yourself. My problem here in the actual reality of this is that the death of your creative career is not the fact that you will make it a career. It's the fact that you will stop enjoying it and you will stop looking for enjoyment. Because you're gonna have to do this for a paycheck. That puts a little pressure on you. Whether or not this is gonna be a full-time income or it's gonna be something that you just do on the side because you want a little extra scratch or you wanna pay off some bills, whatever it's for at any level, so respectable. I understand you and I see you on that. But you allow that to happen. You allow it to sink into the nether of it just being work. And yes, art does start to become work. It's hard work. But you need to keep your core. And again, ask yourself, like I said before, what's enjoyable about this? What do I like about this? Because at the outset, you got into what you're doing right now or what you want to get into because art is fun. It is something that you like. It's something that speaks to you, that you feel that calling to create. And we'll talk about as well today why that's so important for you and the tragic events of what happens when you stop creating. But if you don't put in work into having a good time, into enjoying it, into just the creation process, not just the output, I want to present it to you like this. It's like any good relationship. It's like a relationship with your spouse, with your kids. If you just let everything just devolve into it just being plain existence and not putting in any work into the relationship, it's going to be stale, it's going to be stagnant, it's going to be strained. And that's what you create. And that's our fault for doing that, not the job. Now, do you have to make a career out of art? No, absolutely not. You're a boss just for going ahead and creating. But if you want to make this some form of a career or a side hustle, stop letting this horrible, dumb philosophy poison your perspective. And especially, don't let its venom sink into how you approach things, because it's just going to encourage you to give up. Moving on. So one of the things that I think we have been really, really misled about is that there's this somehow ultra gatekeepy society of people that they are just able to get way more than others or more clients or more money and better opportunities, so on and so forth. And one of the things that I think that I've learned is that that's not that true. Yes, I do wish that people were a little bit more forthcoming with exactly how that works. And by the way, that's exactly why I started this channel, is to make that all crystal clear for you and to just peel back the layers of everything that I wish I knew when I started out. And if you're on board for that, by the way, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. And if this is helping you, share it with somebody that you know so that we can level up all artists, because that's important to me. I'll talk to you about that today too. But at this point, I want to reveal this to you. Something I developed a while ago was this idea that you need to stop fishing and go to the fish market. And so this is just my metaphor for how you're going to find clients, because here's what most artists do. Most artists think that if they just go ahead and they toss up a post on social media and they toss up their commission sheet, which by the way doesn't work and just keeps you really, really broke, that you're somehow just going to have this massive influx of people that would love to pay you and shower you tons of money. That doesn't work. Do you know why? Because you're not popular. Is that a bad thing? No, I don't think everybody's cut out to be popular either. And so this is just like fishing. You can be that person that casts their line and you just sit there with your reel and you hope that somebody is going to want to come to you. And that is a failing strategy for literally 99.9% of artists, because they don't have the basis. Like you with your 213 followers and 10 of them are your family members and the other 50 are your friends that you know in real life, they don't want to pay you, okay? Or they don't want to pay you enough. They don't want to pay you anything respectable, all right? Those family and friends, love them. They are the worst clients in the world. From a money perspective, of course. So one of the things I started to do is start to look for, okay, where are there actual markets of people that want to do this? This is the stuff I share with you each and every week, by the way, too. And I started to look for, okay, everybody's trying to go on social media. Let's get off social media. Let's start to go on other websites. Let's look for groups. Let's look for subreddits. Let's look for Discord servers. Let's try out some new platforms in existence that are actually hot markets. Because if you go to the fish market, you don't have to try to catch the dang fish. They will come to you a lot easier as long as you present yourself well and you use some of the strategies that I'm always teaching you all about. And that's the same exact philosophy too, where if you're stuck in your own wallet, you believe that because of the fact, oh my God, look at me, I was born in Ecuador, I can't ever get more than $20. Oh, poor me, I was born in the Philippines. So there's absolutely no way that I can get more than 15 Filipino pesos for every artwork that I do. You gotta learn to get out of your own wallet, friend. And that was rough for me too. I was not born rich. I was not born privileged. I was born into, honestly, complete mediocrity, actually sub-mediocrity, if I'm being really honest here. And I had to break that chain. And that's what you gotta do too, friend, if you wanna make it long term. And here's something that I learned from doing this. Money is far more abundant than you think. Clients that will pay you more money are far more abundant than you think. The reason why you're not getting the results that you want is because you're still trying the things that only get you those people that you currently have. That's a good thing because now we realized that it's about practices. It's not about destiny. Right now, I want to share with you one of my most extreme perspectives as we kind of go through everything else in this video, which is that you can't argue with broke. And I'm going to speak to this on two different levels. I'm going to talk to you about what this means in regards to, our clients, because I'm big time about that, but also with other artists. Oh yeah, I have to approach that. And so as we discuss clients on this end, basically, you're going to be met with people that can't afford you, that can't offer you what you would like to get. And the fact that you don't get that doesn't mean that it's not available to you. It doesn't mean that the economy is too bad or that where you live is actually going to dictate what you're able to get. And if people buck back against that, if they're not on board with that, that's okay. That's a normal part of business. Now, the other thing about that though, is that if you're not getting what you want, then you have to see that the real issue is that you're not creating enough value and enough urgency in what you're producing and offering. And so what I refuse to do is to continue to fight for clients that will not pay me what I want, that will not give me the desired future that I want, that will push me into poverty. I refuse to do that. Now, on the other spectrum of this, I see this a lot with artists too. And a lot of artists defend practices that honestly, they don't feel good about. They're not proud of. They're not happy with it either. And they will defend it tooth and nail. And I came up against this too when I was starting out. I did this for my first few years and I started to unravel this and I started to ask myself, like, why are we doing this? Should I be doing this? Could there be better? And you asking that question of how do I do this easier and better are like the two biggest cheat codes I could offer you. And so on that note, what I tend to notice is that a lot of artists will defend their practices like it is personal. But it's never personal. It's a business practice. And that's a good thing because where you can recognize a separation in the two, you realize where growth exists for you. Because whether or not you're dealing with clients or artists alike, you can either fight to stay broke or you can fight for the future that you want. But you can't do both at the same time. So which one are you fighting for? Moving on, this is going to be one of the most boss things that you can do. And this is going to feel like something that everybody shies away from. And I want to just approach this softly with you here because it does not matter what your personality is like. If you're trying to do any type of an art business, this is the foundation to build it on. And it is this philosophy that customer service is king. And now this is really like heretical almost nowadays because everybody is trying to be so hands-off. We want to avoid conversations. We want to avoid treating clients like they're human beings. We want to avoid doing the work. We want to avoid this seemingly messy, arduous stuff. But from someone that's been doing this for a very, very long time, over a decade, and actually experienced some growth, here's one gem that you should really know. If you want to monetize, you must humanize. You are not a data entry clerk. You are not running numbers. You are not something that AI can replace. Your greatest superpower is your ability to relate to another human being, to personalize that experience, to make sure that you give them an outstanding experience so that they leave and they go, wow, that person was amazing to work with. I had so much fun. They were a good time. And the more that you avoid being a freaking human being is the degree to which you will limit yourself. And this is a sorely forgotten soft skill. And I understand that given your personality type, that you might want to avoid this. You don't want to talk to people. You just want to send them this and robotize that. And you want everything to be dehumanized. But your avoidance is where your growth is lost. So one thing I've learned as I've done everything in all avenues of my art business, from my YouTube channel content like this, from my mentorship, which if you want to learn more about, go ahead and check it out down below in the description, or especially in my freelance business, I make it a point to make everything feel as uniquely human as personal. And if you are somebody that's avoiding that, start to toe dip into that, my friend, because avoidance equals the worst returns, and humanization will always give you the greatest returns. So what do you need to do to start to humanize your practices a little bit more? Now, after working with literally hundreds of clients, hundreds of artworks, one of the, I think, most tragic deaths, and it's a slow death that you'll ever experience, is you slowly losing the joy. Have you ever felt this? Have you ever felt like this is eventually just turning itself into drudgery? Like it's not something that you like. It's just something that you're doing for a paycheck. Well, I want to flip that all on its head because the next standard that I have for myself that really helped me do this really long term, and I want everything that you're learning in this video to be about sustainability, not just growth. You can do rapid growth if you want, but it's not fun and it might not be for you. But I'm making a point to convince myself in every artwork that I do to enjoy it. And now, I don't force myself to do this. I don't make this a point that I'm like deluding myself or like I'm like sucking on laughing gas while I'm drawing just so that it's not a pain. And just to put this out there, yes, I work with clients that are not that enjoyable. Yes, I work on specs that seem very boring and basic. Yes, I do have to make revisions that I prefer not to. And most importantly, yes, I do have to make changes to artwork that I know, because I'm a creative artist, that will look so much better than what that client wants it to. You ever have that struggle? I'm not unique on that front, but every single time I make an artwork, I make this my absolute guiding light. I gotta find at least one thing in that artwork that I like. It might be that, oh, I really like the hair on this. I've never done that hairstyle before. Or, oh, I've never done that ethnicity before. That's something cool I can latch on to. Or, hey, you know what? I've never like fully painted clouds that I thought looked really good. I'm gonna make that my challenge here. And if you don't hear it yet, one of the things that I'm doing here is I'm giving myself some type of personal challenge, because in personal challenge, there's growth, there's potential, and there is ascension there. And that's where enjoyment can really lie for me. And it can also just be something really boring and basic. Oh, I really like the fact I get to make a pretty girl. I don't get to make those very often, if you can't see from my portfolio before, okay? But you don't need to love every artwork, but you do need to make it your duty. I believe, my friend, you need to make it your duty To want to grow, you have to find at least one thing to it, and this will majorly make or break your career, as I'm going to talk to you about in a moment. Because here's what it looks like on the opposite end. You will so easily convince yourself how much you hate every work and you dislike the client and it's boring and basic and you're not getting what you want. But here's the game changer. If you can approach what comes your way with enthusiasm in any degree, at any level, you're never going to get the ones that you want, because you have to romance those potentials, those possibilities, because they're not going to fall your way because you don't deserve it yet. Now, before I drop this one on you, you're probably going to misinterpret it perhaps at first, but please just hear me out, okay? One of the best and worst teachers in my life was definitely my parents. And so what I noticed about both my parents when I was growing up, and I couldn't really put this out there, but it did shape this philosophy I'm going to give to you right now, which is they used to just come home from a hard day at work, probably like you do, and they would sit down and they would watch TV, and eventually they would just fall asleep doing that. And I just remember thinking now in my adult life why that bothered me so much. It's because I saw that they were not in the place that they wanted to. They weren't revealing the best version of themselves, and they weren't achieving what they wanted to do. And so that set the tone to shape this philosophy. I believe that you need to earn the pillow. And now I don't mean that from like a hustle bro mentality, because I'm not about that, but I'm also not comfy, cozy hog either. So when I say you need to earn the pillow, what I'm talking about is, did you make progress today? For me personally, what I do not want and what I do not desire is to simply wake up with a pulse and go to bed that night with the same exact pulse and having nothing achieved, other than the fact that I went to go work for somebody else's dream, for somebody else's wallet, and they gave me a super small cut of it. That's not moving a needle. And so for you, my friend, here's what I want to propose to you and what this did for me. This made me take a lot of accountability for my actions and what I was doing and not doing. Did I earn that pillow today? What have I done to go ahead and make a difference? What progress have I made? And just to be very, very clear about this, I'm not talking about did I achieve the result I want? I mean, did I make efforts towards it? Did I make efforts towards my health? Did I make efforts towards my wealth? Did I make efforts towards that artwork? Did I make a little bit of more progress on this piece that I've been working on for a while? And I'm also giving this, by the way, from the perspective of somebody who is a husband, a father, a provider of their family. I'm the sole provider. And so one of my greatest things that I want to do for my sons is give them some type of legacy that they can model. And I think then that gives you the perspective of what you're doing and is it actually doing it? Because honestly, I mean, you're going to be one of two types of people. You're either going to be somebody that makes progress, and I celebrate and glorify effort, not end product, every single day. Or you're going to be somebody that honestly just took one more step into the grave. You celebrated rotting to death for one more day, for the last 24 hours. That doesn't sound like something that I want. So at the end of the day, here's another thing you can ask yourself. What good did I do for myself, and how did I help bring that into the world today? How would that reshape all of your experiences and how you're using your time? Because that's something that we also need to discuss today. Next, here's something that I always thought, I felt, and I bet you felt too. But then I confirmed it while I was writing my dissertation for my doctorate. And what I learned in that is that creativity is not a skill. It's not something that you're born with. It's not a talent. Creativity is a default mode. And so what that kind of brings into perspective and how does this help me shape what I do, how much I do it, and the degree to which I make sure that I'm taking this seriously. Because here's what I want to offer you too, is that the more that you sustain yourself in creative modes and in creative efforts, that's important, the healthier of a human being you're going to be. And I mean that in all capacities, because here's what it is on the other end of it. The less creative that you are, the less creative acts that you put yourself into, this is defying human nature. And here's the after effect of that. This is where depression and anxiety are going to creep into every single pore of your life. So because of the fact that we are born to be creatives, like everything that we do in life, you think about human beings, we're the most pathetic creatures that dominate this earth. We have nothing special about us. We're not strong. Like we have no adaptations that make us alpha predators, but we dominate this planet for absolutely no other reason other than the fact that we have created everything. The more that you take yourself out of the role of being a creative, the more depression and anxiety will hit you hard. And why is that? Here's what I discovered through my research, which is that your imagination is both your greatest tool and your greatest enemy. Because if you're not giving yourself your imagination anything to do, it's going to go ahead and it's going to do it anyways. And it's going to present itself in the forms of fears and feelings and surface level emotions that don't serve you. So am I saying that if you stay busy all the time, that you're going to feel happy? No. But what you are going to feel is satisfied. You're going to feel accomplished. You're going to have something to be proud of. You're going to build that thing that people say is called confidence. And the best way I've ever heard this explained is that creativity, it's not a talent. It's an approach. And beyond that, as I would say, it's also a commitment. It's how you're going to stay in your life and what art means to you. And it's through that philosophy that, I've been able to go ahead and do some really cool things that I love to share with you like this every week. And so the hardest part about doing this too is that you have so many outlets for you to fake creativity and to fake your gains and to fake like you're actually making progress. Oh, you leveled up in this game, you unlocked that skill. Oh, you did this and you're going to play that. That's not real. And the more that you realize that is hacking your creativity, not feeding it, although yes, it's fun sometimes, I do it too, but what's your split? Because if your split is more in favor of you partaking in other people's creative efforts versus you making your own creative efforts, that's a source of your misery because you're defying your nature. Next, I have this absolutely crazy philosophy. I have this seemingly ludicrous idea here, which is that I think that if we all share, then we all succeed. And I'm very community driven on this one. And so very specifically what I'm talking about is that I very firmly believe that as an artistic community, we need to be more open and share things that are actually working. And I say that especially with professional practices, how to get jobs, how to get clients, how to grow your income, how to go ahead and build multiple streams of revenue. I very firmly believe that it does nobody any good to just keep everything to ourselves and just clench your butt cheeks when you hear somebody doing something wrong that you know is not going to work out for them, or is a poor practice, or it's a really limited mindset. I don't believe that. I believe that one of the things that we're meant to do on this earth is to go ahead and acquire wisdom and then share it. And I view that as not only just an artistic endeavor, but I view it as an obligation to humanity. That's literally why I make the stuff that I do. That's why I teach you how to go ahead and actually attract clients, how to actually build an income, how to actually find people that want to pay you respectable sums of money and what you need to do to go get there. Because I just remember how lost I was when I first started. I did what everybody else did. Oh, here's just some random assortment of artworks. Please pay me money. Didn't work. Oh, well, here's my commission sheet. Everybody seems to be doing that. No, it's not working. Or when it comes to actually getting a professional art job. Like, why is that not more accessible beyond just like ChatGPT could tell you the same exact response? It's not right. That's a huge red flag. But I really believe in community, and I believe in helping artists find places and share to go ahead and be a part of that so that we can all grow together, and then we can share that information with other artists. And that is one of my major guiding philosophies too. That's also why I also created my Discord server, which, by the way, if you want to join, I would love to have you. We're approaching 1,000 members, and I would love for you to be in that too, in that number. And you can find my link in the description of this video. But I want to just put this forth for you, like, what are you doing as well to help bring up artists? Because if we die with this huge encyclopedia of wisdom that you've attained in your special practices and what's working for you and where you're getting it, it doesn't do anybody any good. Nobody can hear you from the grave. So let it all out and let's have all of us succeed rather than just a few. Next, as somebody who's grown into doing a lot of different things, a mindset that I've developed is that I think it's a good idea for you to go ahead and dig a hole to build a pool. And so what I mean by that is that a lot of people, I tend to notice, are not okay with doing something that is a little bit in discomfort, we'll call it, and they will oppose doing something that won't give them an immediate payoff. Whereas my approach to it is that I'm okay with doing something for a while, even if I don't see a return on it necessarily immediately, because I know that that action is going to bear fruit over time. And so what if you started to take a look at everything that you're doing, not as something that just happens this week, not something that happens today, but you start to take a look at it as an investment into your future, an investment into your future bank account, an investment into your potential. And so what I tend to notice about this is that all of your interests, all of your actions, very specifically, they pay dividends. In other words, you get a fantastic return on investment every single time. So things that I've done on here, it's been on definitely my freelance practices. People used to tell me I was crazy for not showing my prices or making clients have a conversation with me before they buy from me. But over time, I can definitely prove to you where all of that's grown well and a lot of people that dumped out along the way. I can also put this into my art education practices. I am somebody who has no problem spending a bunch of time making a really banger tutorial and set of resources for my students and for my mentees so that they can go ahead and produce really confidently and clearly. And I see a lot of art educators that don't want to do that, but they want the end results. That doesn't make sense. And then again, here on YouTube, like I started this 5 years ago. And so I can look back and be like, oh my God, well, that video only got 150 views. Oh, that was such a poor use of my time. But honestly, like one of my videos that super underperformed, which was just a simple tutorial on how to digital paint in Photoshop. And I made that 4.5 years ago. It's now one of my highest performing videos of all time. And it consistently gets monthly like thousands of views. It's crazy. But I never would have had any of those returns had I just stuck with the idea that what I'm doing right now is the best thing. And if I don't try to expand, if I don't try to dig a new hole, I'm never gonna feel the effects of what it'll be like once that grows into an amazing oasis of what possibilities exist. So my friend, don't shy away from a new opportunity or something that you know, because you'll feel it right here like I did. You'll feel it right between your eyes, the stress of something that's bothering you and you not addressing it. Don't do that. Embrace that stress and do something to curb yourself away from it. All right, now I want to approach this idea. So I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm somebody who, for most of my life, I would classify myself as a pretty big loser, okay? Like I was crazy overweight. I had loads of acne. Like you might have heard the term pizza face. I was the entire Domino's chain, okay? I had never had a girlfriend until I was 19. Fortunately, she turned out to be my wife, so that worked out well. I just held myself in weight, I guess. And so I was also somebody who didn't have any leg up. I wasn't born rich or anything like that. And nonetheless, though, one of the things I started to realize is that if you feel like a failure, I understand. But staying in that mode and staying in there to the end, there has to be an awakening that happens. And here's what mine was. It's realizing that if something is difficult for you to overcome, it's not because of your destiny. It's not because you're damned. It's not because of your bloodline. It's not because of the way you look. It's not because of your gender. It's not because of where you were born into this world. It's not because of anything superficial. And it is literally because of your systems. And so one of the best things I've started to do, literally, I think most importantly over the last 5 years or so, is that I started to take a look at what I'm doing and ask myself one major question. How do I do this better? How could I do this? Okay, so if this isn't working out for me, what do I need to do differently? See, we tend to personalize everything we do and take it on like it's part of our personality. But that's not true. Our personality is just a reflection of our habits. That's a good thing because we can change our habits. We can change our philosophies, and that will shape our what's called a paradigm, or basically it's like your operating system as a human being. Now, you will fail not relative to your circumstances, but relative to your systems, my friend. And so there's a lot of systems in existence that honestly do work, but a lot that don't work too. And so I want to teach you all about that and to go ahead and learn about some great systems that will make you a ton of money and also a ton of great success that will be very rewarding for you. Go ahead and check out that video right there. It's going to teach you everything I've learned to go ahead and really level you up. Hey, if this helped you, please share with someone that you know. Thanks so much and see you next time.